A very good day to you. This is Owen McCafferty speaking on behalf of Professional Fusion, and the topic of today's area is fraud. And this is my third take, believe it or not. First time I had the old iPhone on picture instead of video. Second instance, I corrected that and gave a wonderful presentation. Was looking at the counter on the clock to make sure that I wasn't getting too long-winded, and found out that nothing was happening. So this is the third time, and I think it's working. So let's get into the area. Fraud is an area that is focused in the professions and is a challenge. You may be a great doctor, you may be a wonderful architect or engineer, or attorney, or a fellow CPA such as myself. But the fact is that to stay current, it takes a lot of work. So far, since July 1st, 2024, I have counted over 173 hours of continuing professional education. You have to stay current, especially as a CPA. Not only because you have a license, the license only requires 80 hours every 2 years for the state that I'm in now in Florida. Although I'm licensed in 6 states and have to make sure that I respect all of them. I'm also licensed as a certified veterinary practice manager. So again, I have to take more hours of continuing education. Hence, I was at the VMX meeting a couple of weeks ago, and next week I go to beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada for the Western Conference. And I'm also certified in financial forensics. I'm a certified global management accountant. So all these require continuing education. So I spend quite a bit of time. I'd like to talk about where the focus is in a lot of the CE that I've been taking. One area specifically is the area of fraud. Fraud as it relates to electronics, fraud as it relates to absconding of money, fraud as it relates to misstatement of financial information for gain. So the cyber portion of fraud has been with us for a while now, but you know, the folks that commit this are pretty smart, and they're always trying to steal your either Bitcoin, or they're trying to get into your computer system so they can steal your identity, or they'll try to do something to gain access. So first caution is obtain the right kind of software. The right kind of software is usually the most expensive, and usually is name brand. That's not always the case, but you can always have a need for making sure that people aren't stealing the things that you have, especially if you're in a profession where you have sensitive client or patient information. Next area is be careful that you secure your information in appropriate backup and probably in a reliable third-party vault or some sort of third-party storage area that has an adequate level of encryption to ensure that you really don't have problems. I'd encourage you to spend, again, the proper money and even document it. We have to document it as a matter of course in the financial area. But document what kind of protections you have, and then review those protections just to make sure. Maybe have somebody from the outside review it, engage them if they have a specialty in the area to make sure that your data is being secure. Because unfortunately, people who engage in cyber theft are very smart people, and they are constantly changing their approach so they can secure more of your information. Watch out for that and just be aware of it. It's always changing. Second area that we talked about was absconding of money. That is usually employees that steal things from you. Sometimes it's patients or clients, but Usually it's employees. And the employees are forced to do it often because they're in desperate need of capital. Back in the late 1970s, we had a real problem with inflation, far greater than what we have now. It took approximately 4.5 to 5 years in a subsequent presidential administration to dig us out of it. Now, there were some advantages. That administration, the Reagan administration, was in authority when a lot of the baby boomers were graduating from professional schools, from advanced degrees and master's programs or doctoral programs, or are starting businesses as entrepreneurs and worked long, hard hours. And because they worked long, hard hours and they were educated, that inventory of man hours dug us out of having too many dollars and too few goods and services from the 70s. So I'm not sure we have that right now. We don't have a boomer class of people who have a depression mentality that was really drummed into their heads by their grandparents and their parents. We have a quality of life issue. Unfortunately, quality of life issues are juxtaposed to being able to dig us out of an overspent economy where we have way too many dollars chasing too few goods and services. So I think we're going to be in for a challenge. I know it. There's metaphysical certitude that we are. And it's going to take a lot of work on our part. In whatever country that you're in, the probability is that the native population is not having children at the rate that they had in the past. I grant you there's a lot of people coming into countries, specifically in Europe and North America, who haven't been properly authorized to come in. We use a lot of terms. I don't want to get into the political structure of it, but what I want to do is just warn you that when people come into any country, and they are properly educated and they can't contribute, and they may not necessarily be, pardon the word, vetted to ensure that they are the type of people that you want in the country, then there's going to be a danger. And I think that's where we sit now, and that's going to take a long time to figure it out. The political structure is one thing, but the other factor is just the physical issue of what do you do to have the people who can earn a living, support themselves, and also support others, because let's face it, that's what taxation is the involuntary surrender of wealth to a governmental entity who would then choose how they wish to spend your money. And you really have very little to say in it. We won't go into some of those political aspects. That's probably going to be a good one for another video. But right now, let's just say that the fraud section is being fueled with your employees because they can't make ends meet. As hard as they work, they can never have a lifestyle of what they had in the, let's say, 2017, 18, and 2019. It's going to take a long time. It's going to be a challenge. There's also fraud from the standpoint of misstatement of financial information. How does this affect you in a profession? Well, quite easily if you're looking at trying to buy a practice and you're looking at the financial information from a practice that you're looking at purchasing, you might find out that the financial information shown on the tax returns and the financial statements isn't really accurate. That's really the pure definition of fraud. That is a misstatement of financial information in order to gain advantage. And the advantage in this instance would be that you would either buy the practice or you buy the practice at a higher rate. So there's a lot more economic pressure these days. So what I would suggest you do is don't get too tight. Engage competent people, specialists in the area that you wish to engage, who have a little gray hair or lack thereof, so that they've got some experience to help you in the process of determining what the true results of operations are, the true financial position of the practice that you're wishing at buying, what kind of earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization exist, and what unstated liabilities you could be assuming unwittingly, and as a result of that, make a grave mistake. And then finally, don't forget the issue of cash flow. A lot of times people will make decisions saying, well, it's not making a lot of money, but it sure cash flows. Well, I guarantee you, the availability of cash and the reasonableness of proper profit have a direct correlation. There's no magic involved in it. So, with all of that in mind, what I'd like to do is encourage you just to remember that fraud is prevalent today. Fraud is in misstatement of financial information. I hate to say it, but those that you hold nearest and dearest to your employees may be forced to abscond with either property or cash because they're trying to make ends meet and it's not going too well. And then finally, worry about the problems that are occurring when people are trying to fool you to get into your computer system to take your assets. So remember, your danger is in two of the basic areas. Either people want your assets or they want to shell off liabilities on you so that you have to pay them back from your assets. But in any event, fraud is a big problem. Fraud has been really pushed to the forefront in continuing education. By the way, always ask those that work, that you engage, the attorneys and CPAs, insurance people, what kind of continuing education have they had in the past year? How many hours have they had? And if it's an honest person, you may hear crickets. If it's a dishonest person, then they'll make representations that just aren't credible. What I do is I maintain an inventory of my continuing education hours, and I have it readily available for anyone whenever they ask, as well as a copy of my curriculum vitae. So with all of that in mind, and I could talk forever, but just looking at the counter, I am beyond the scope of what I should have limited myself to. But when it comes to fraud, there's so much to be said. With that in mind, this is Owen McCafferty. I'd like to say adieu, and please take care of yourself.